All right, so let me just start that from the beginning. So after I downloaded my files into CSVs from my desktop, from Google Sheets, I'm gonna turn around and browse this, look at customers, look at sales, start with sales, press next. That is a delimited field. It's automatically gonna understand that it's a comma delimited field. There's a text encapsulator already, and the first row will contain values. Next, the first is just a numeric field. I'm gonna call it a character field. This is gonna be a character field. This is a date, right? So we gotta make sure that this is the number one thing that you must do when you're importing something. You gotta make sure that you put in the right cell state. This is in the format of YYYY MMDD. Now this is very critical, you guys. If you don't get this done, then it will not let you import the data. It will not let you do any of the activities at all. This is still character. This is a numeric field with no decimals. This is a unit price, which means that's going to be numeric with 2 decimals, right? This is going to be my sales rep. You're not going to have a sales total in there. You're going to probably have to calculate it. So the sales rep is a character, customer city is a character, and then most likely you're going to have to multiply this. But in this case, it's already done. Let's go next. This is where you would say verify sales amount. Type, it's going to be a virtual, not virtual character. It will be a virtual numeric with 2 decimals. Yeah, and the parameter would be to calculate it. And we can calculate this by saying this is going to be quantity times unit price. Let's validate it. It's valid. Let's make it work. So that's next. Next. Let's generate field statistics. Create and finish it. Before anything else, before I do anything else, I'm gonna make sure that I'm looking at my field statistics, right? And I'm gonna create a control total. And that control total has to be, I'm looking at this and looking, okay, these are 5,000 records. I can go back to my spreadsheet and I can see if in fact those records that I supposedly imported were in fact 5,000 records. And I can look at this either in Excel or in Google Sheets to make sure that I am matching that control number that I created. So the control number that I'm going to create right now, it's going to be on my data. I'm going to look at the creative value. If this is correct, most likely you're going to have to calculate it. But let's say the control total goes into the sales amount. Boom. And that's done. So that $6,241,000,000 should be the same as my exam practice right here, which is not going to be found because I deleted it. But okay. I wonder if this is going to be here. No. So let me go to this. Oh, I deleted it. So I would have to go back and check it. So let me bypass that so I don't distract you. This is already done. Let me import the next one.
How is the sales total different from the sales amount? What are
the same?
I think I missed that, yeah.
They're the same, but most likely you're not going to have sales total in your exam.
Oh, okay. So you're just showing how to, okay.
So I'm just showing how to calculate it. Yes.
And yeah,
okay,
thank you.
So let me make sure I have, let me make sure I have that customers important. You're welcome. And so I'm going to go a little faster by saying this is the first row. The 2 things that are important here is that the account number is a character, my customer name, address, everything here should be a character except this one. That needs to be a numeric field with 2 decimals, right? And that's it. There's nothing in there. Boom. Let's generate the statistics. and I gotta find a way to do a control total, right? It could be my customer's credit limit. And if I do the control total on my customer's credit limit, then guess what? I'll be able to see if my file matches the $1.866 billion worth of credit that I've extended my customers. And I should be able to look at my spreadsheet, right? And I'll go in there quickly just to validate it, but I don't want to spend too much of your time doing that. It looks like I may be gaining some speed. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to import the next one.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If we were able to, I saw in the chat, if we were able to import it as an Excel file, we can just.
If you were able to import as an Excel file, it would be okay. You would have to make sure that there's no filters in there. I think that's the trick. That way you skip 3 things. Now, the problem with that is that you're going to have to import them one at a time from Excel anyway. And you still have to find each tab separately as if it was one CSV sheet. So I don't know if you're really making that much of a difference by doing that. So again, this sales order amount, I'm going to make this a character. I count this character date. This is very critical, guys. Now, this is something, let me switch that to character. You see how this is 2016-01-24 has hyphens in between? The #1 mistake that I have in every exam that makes you stop, that will lose 40 points, is that people try to import the date without putting a date mask. The date mask means how is that coming in, right? The YYY hyphen, don't forget the hyphen. Let me say that again. Don't forget the hyphen, right? Between the M's and the D's, if that is the way it's coming in. If it's not coming in like that, if it's just all numbers, then get rid of the hyphens. You got to be very conscious of that. Otherwise, you won't be able to do any manipulation of dates, like give me a date range or anything like that. You won't be able to do that. And then you'll have an error, and then you're going to start freaking out in the exam. So just make sure, once again, the sales date has the hyphens, if they have hyphens.
I have a dumb question. So I'm trying to do this from a portal. I did the project from my work computer, so I don't have the idea on my desktop, but I'm doing it from a portal. Would that like have anything to do with why I'm not able to download the spreadsheets?
You should be able to download it from inside a portal. And it's not a dumb question. So it happens to me all the time. So if you are in a portal, just remember you're in a different computer, right?
Right.
So you're in, and so anything you do, you gotta log into the portal. You gotta log into Canvas, your Google Drive from within, and download it from within to be able to import it from within. So you just remember that that particular browser is a separate computer than your computer itself.
Okay.
So here you would have to do this, like this classroom app. I think this is the one that I want you to get into, the classroom app. Okay, so make sure that you guys get into Classroom. I think you might be a little faster too. Let me see if there's idea. So see here, you would have to log into Google Chrome, not here, but from here, and then go into Drive.
Okay. I think that's what I'm doing wrong too.
Yes, no problem.
Okay, thanks.
So drivegoogle.com, right? And then this is a lot faster than my computer. Let me just tell you that. This is so amazing. I might choose to just do it here. Well, we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay. So now that I'm here, customer city and sales total. Sales total is not a character, that's numeric, and it's gonna have 2 decimals as well. So make sure that you are bringing in the units, not as characters, but as numeric, and then that's it. So that is just something to be very careful about. So that's done. Okay. I think I double imported this, but okay. Okay. So then I need to do customer sales and what else? I imported it twice, you guys. So now let's go get the payments. I hope I got the right payments. Yeah. First row contains fields. That's going to be a payment ID character. Sales order. It's not numeric. It's character as well. Account number, character, customer name, character. Another date. Very careful, right? Because I may ask you questions on the date. MMDD. And payment amount is going to be a numeric field with 2 decimals. And I'm going to go next, next, next. I would like to generate finished statistics, and then I think I created this data set with less payments than normal. So not everything is paid. That's correct. All of those are payments. Let me create a control total right away. That's the #1 rule, is to create a control total, because that's the only way I'm going to find out if you did it correctly. And you would do a screenshot of this, right? So you would say, let me give a screenshot of snipping tool, right? Of so that is how you're going to prove that you did it right. Does that make sense? Yes. So I will put that in my document that I'm providing. So for my first step, that's what I would do. So right now when I hang up, I'm gonna just do all these and post them and release them to you guys. But let's keep going and to help you do the exam itself. So this is the idea, download it and import it. So here's the image where it would go. And this is what you would look at. And so if it matches this amount, then you did it right. Next. Let's do top 30 transactions. Deliverable, copy and paste entire screenshot showing date and time and control amount of all the records. Also provide the expanded text file with the audit history. So we'll get to that in a minute. So first I'm gonna do the top 30 transactions based on the sales amount. And so how do I do that? I'm gonna go to not payments. I'm gonna look at the sales, open the sales database, and I'm gonna go to the data analysis. So the analysis tab, I'm gonna do the top 30 transactions, right? Top records, or I could get bottom records. How many? 30 top records based on sales amount. Simple as that. And I'm gonna call this top 30 records. What does it say? Extract your initials and call it FB top sales. So then I have to be very careful because this is the way I'm gonna name it. File name, FB top sales. In your case, you name it differently, but for the practice, just do this. You can group them by different fields, but I don't want to group them right now, and I want all the fields. So then I press OK, and that's it. And immediately, right, I should be able to get a record. So you should be able to match the $97,485,200 for this. So when you do the snippet, dun, 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 then that's what you got to show me, right? The 97, you do the copy and paste, and you're done with 20 points of your exam. It's, in fact, more than that, 35, because you've already downloaded the data. So that's 1, 2. The next thing I'm going to need is for you to come back to your history, right? expand on the history. And once you expand this on this little icon right here, don't forget this little icon, right? Let me zoom in real quick. So once you zoom in on this icon, right, then you want to export this as a text file or as a PDF. You know, I don't care. We can do it as a PDF. And then you're going to call this top sales, right? FP top sales, FP top. I keep doing the same mistake. And that's it. So that is going to show me that you went into this file, that you imported it, that you have the number of records, and then that you extracted, that you created a control field. Let me just go in there. I think it's faster when you do a text field. So it's okay if you do the text. It's actually a lot faster than this. Jesus, it's super slow. My computer. I don't know why. So by the way, here it shows you that you had 5,000 to begin with, and then you did a sales amount by getting the top 30 records, and this is the definition that you're going to use. So all of this, it's all the metadata that's created and the audit trail that you're going to be creating for me to be able to give you a grade. It's super critical that you give me this control amount, otherwise I won't be able to show your numbers, right? Because everybody has a different number based on their data, and that's how I'm going to be able to locate if you did it right. I'm looking at the 30 records, but if I can't, then at the very least, I want to see a sample record and the total amount, right? And then the transactions. Next, let's go to the next question.
I have a quick question. Where is the text file usually saved to?
The save file it will default to the same folder that you last used. So let me just go to field set. Very good question, because this is going to be part of what you need, right? So let's say that you expand and you export, and then you text. It immediately goes to the last folder you used. So if you just imported stuff into the library, it might go into the other library. I may just go all the way to my documents and put them in a folder, that idea exam, that I can locate. Otherwise, it's gonna get tough while you're doing the exam, trying to figure out where is it, where did I put it, you know? So if you, from the beginning, save it in the place where you know this is gonna be where you're gonna get it, top records. And so I'm gonna save it right there. Next thing would be to go into create a random sample. Now, for the random sample, you're gonna use a particular random number seed that I'm gonna assign for you guys to use. And that is the one that you have to use all the time. And everybody may get a different one. So that's the key, is that I'll be able to predict which numbers you're gonna get based on your student ID and the random samples, the seed. So we are gonna go back to, let's create a random sample of 100 transactions. From where? Is it from the top cells? If you create 100 random samples out of the top cells, you're not gonna get 100, you're gonna get 30. And they're all gonna be the 30 in there. So immediately you'll know that you made a mistake. But if you go into the cells, right, and then you go to the random sample, and you say, I want 100 transactions, and I'm gonna use 1462, right? Then I'm gonna start from 1 to 5,000, and I'm gonna allow duplicate records. No, 1 to 5,000. This is gonna be my FP random sample. What fields do I use? All of them. I'm not asking you to just show me a few. So then that's it. I have 100 randomly selected items. Since I created a control total from the top, it will come in here as well. So guess what? If you made a mistake and you forgot to do the control total, then you're gonna have to do one at a time every time. So it's best that you do it from the beginning, and then it just travels with you. That that control total is gonna be adjusted to show the actual sum of whatever you just selected. So this is gonna be copy pasted. Let me put it right here. And that's gonna be shown. Okay, next. Copy and paste. Okay, so you should have put it in here. Also provide the expanded text file with audit. So in that point, we would come back and say, let's go to the history. Let's expand this with the little icon. Let's export this to a text field. And then I'm gonna say FP. Now, why is this important, guys? This is important because notice how I went back to the other library when I use the sample. So I'm gonna go back to documents, idea exam, and then FP random sample, right? So this is important because if you're doing an audit, you have to document what you're doing with your audit, right? So you have to document the steps that the auditor took to randomize the sample, so you're not arbitrarily looking at numbers without following a randomized sample that is scientific, right? You don't want to be one side, or you may want to be very, very specific. You may want to say, I only want to do a random sample of those transactions that are in November. So why don't we just do that? Let me type a variation here, and then I'll release it a little later. So how about A? How about a random sample of transactions in 2015, in March of 2015. So now you have double parameters. So you could start by doing this on a direct extract and then do a random sample, or let me get rid of this. So if you had done a random sample of this, it would not allow you to do the criteria. So first you would have to create a direct extract, right? A direct extract with the parameters. And so first you would say March 2015 transactions, right? And then of course that would be FP, and then you would say something to the effect of where sales date is between, is greater than or equal to 2015-0101. My suggestion is that you use the calendar so you see the format of the date, so you can then turn around and say, okay, I see how that is, and I made a mistake. It should have been 3/01 to 21/03/31. And the sales date, I got to do it again, and sales date is less than or equal to 21. Does that make sense? So sales date is greater than or equal to 2015-03/01, and sales date is less than or equal to 2015-03/31. That is like an in-between. And so I can then press validate and press OK, and then it happens to give me 100 transactions. Is that true? That's funny. Did I choose 100? Well, let's find out what I did. Yeah, I did not limit it to 100. Let me try to do a direct extract as well. Maybe I did say 100, right? And when I got in here, yeah, I did not limit it to 100. Okay, so then if I wanted to do a random sample out of this March activity, then I would click on here, go to the data, right? And then do a random sample, right, of, let's say, 30 records, or let's make it 20 records, right? And the seed is 1462, whatever I gave you, starting from 1, ending to 100, and this is gonna be my FP random. It's a random selection of March transactions. And that's it. And then that's it. Notice that I first cut all the parameters and then I did the randomization. Otherwise, then you randomize stuff that it's not going to fit the pattern. So you first cut the pie and then you randomize. I hope that makes sense. And so here I would do this. Let me print screen it. So I'd like you to kind of do this on your own and do it at home and make sure that you're able to follow this, or that you can do it on your own and you can verify this on your own. And if you're able to do this, then you're ready. You're able to manipulate numbers and data sets for audit purposes, right? There it is. Now let's find out if any of your random samples files have not been fully paid. So let's go back, right? And go to this random sample that you created. I'm gonna close everything else. And I wanna make sure that these transactions are fully paid. Simple as that. This is the sales amount. How do we find out if they're paid? Fully paid. Well, the first thing I wanna do is find out how much they have received in payments for that sales order amount. So I am gonna join this random sample, right, with my table of payments. This payments table, I'll be able to join them, and I gotta find out how am I gonna match them. So I'm gonna have to match them using a sales order number to be more specific, right? With a sales order number so that it matches one to the other, right? Because I'm giving payments based not on account, but on sales order number, right? I could have something else. I could have had I could have customer name, but then it wouldn't be perfect because then I'll have a bunch of different sales orders by a customer with a bunch of different payments. And it would just give me the overall balance of that customer. But this question was very specific, and it said, which sales orders have not been paid from the random sample. So I am gonna get the random sample, do the join database. And now the key here is to go back to our axes and tables principles, right? And we are saying, which ones are we looking at? Are we looking at those that are matches only, right? Well, that depends on the question. Let me go back to the question. Sample files that have not been paid in full. So the only way I can find out if they haven't been paid in full is if I join them with the payments, and I get all the ones from the primary, right? And anything else that has no primary match. But what if there's a match? Okay, so let me zoom in real quick to explain this. If I choose matches only, it's gonna bring the intersection of both payments and sales. So that would be anything that has a payment. It doesn't mean that it's already fully paid. So if I exclude all of those that have not received the payment, then I won't be able to show the transactions that have no payment whatsoever. If I do the records, meaning the random sample records that have no primary match, I will indeed be selecting those payments, those sales with no payments at all. But I asked what has not been paid in full, meaning that one of these transactions could have a payment that is half a payment of the original sale. So that's not gonna give me it. So what I need to do is I need to get all the record query, because I want all the records. I want to include those partial payments too. And then I'm gonna find out which ones are not paid at all. So let's just follow that for now. I'm gonna do all records in primary file. And that's question, right? It's key for you to understand the exam is which one are you gonna choose?
What about records with no primary match instead of no secondary match?
Records, so that would have been, let me go back real quick, and that depends on the way you join the tables. So if I had joined the databases, okay, let me go back to the original. If I had gotten the random sample and then I did a join, right? Then that means that the random sample becomes primary, the secondary becomes a second database. In this case was payments. So I could have said, give me all the records that have payments with no invoice.
Oh, so it just matters how you.
It matters how you join
which
them.
is first and which is second.
Which one's first, correct. Which one's the, so it's not primary and secondary, it's like left and right.
Mm-hmm. Thank
So
you.
this would be a left join versus a right join if we want to get a little more specific. But I'm glad you asked that question because that's very important. Thank you. And so let me go back to canceling this and go to the join data.
Let me just ask you real quick. I'm doing this on a Porto and I'm not able to screenshot on a Porto. Like, how will we do that during the test?
You can print. Can you print screen?
I can print screen from my regular computer, but it's not going to be on a Porto. I'd have to go back to it from my regular computer and download the images after I take the exam, basically.
I've been using the snipping tool. Are we allowed to do that instead of the print screen?
Yes.
I've been using the snipping tool, but I can't use it in the Porto at all.
It doesn't let you do it, or it's just not installed.
I can't search for it in like my Windows thing, and I can't find it anywhere.
Apparently it doesn't know who I am. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I thought I'd just bring it up before we try to do it on the exam Wednesday.
That's great. Thank you, Matthew. Because I don't want to have you go into 2 different places.
Yeah.
So let's see how we're gonna do this. So let me see if okay, so you see this is already applying. All right, so there I am. See this Windows? Yeah, you should have a snipping tool.
It's not letting me get there.
So I think you just have to go lower. Like, you see how I have 2 different windows? One is my Windows, and the other one's the Windows within.
Yeah.
So you should be able to say new.
Yeah, that's still the same problem of him trying to get the files from his actual computer rather than a portal, right? So
Yeah, you can do it from either. I'll let you.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you snip it from wherever. So if you want to snip from one or the other, that's fine. But if you're going to be using a portal, since you will be using a portal, then when you use IDEA, it makes sense that you just bring everything here, that you log in here.
Yeah, since you have to upload the files from there anyways.
Yeah, you got to download exactly. The text files are going to be from there anyway. So.
And does a portal show if we access our external computer, and would that be a problem during the test? Like if we use a snipping tool?
It does. It does tell me that when you're having activity outside.
And that'll be okay if we want to use it.
Kind of locked down, and then it lets me see. It lets me do it. It lets me. When I go in, it lets me look at the classroom. Like it lets me look at all of your desktops at the same time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So, but that won't be a problem if we do use our actual computer.
Yeah, if you, yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Because you all have different data, guys. I'm not worried about you doing something. You know, you all have different data sets. You all have different questions, so I'm not concerned at all. You know, but you know that stuff is similar, but it's okay. All right, so here we go. You have different cells that have no payments, and you can already see some that have no payments. It looks like some, like for example, this particular cell to Barveni Cater was for $288,695, but they only paid $230. So what we need to do is create a calculated field. This is a little more complex, right? Because you're gonna have to go to create an appended field that has balance, order balance. And that's going to be virtual numeric with 2. And the parameters are going to be, or the criteria that's going to be defining this, is going to be the sales order amount minus payments. Payment amount. And we validate it. It's mismatched. Oh, guess what? I mismatched it because I did sales order number. Sales amount minus payments amount, right? That's my order balance. And
And you could you just repeat the formula for that again?
yeah, so I just did payment. I'm sorry, I did sales amount, right? Because
Sales
that's
amount.
my sales amount minus
Your payment.
my payment, and I
Okay.
get my order balance. So that is so some of them are gonna be paid actually, but some of them are not. You see how that is? And so now this is gonna be my control total has to be changed to my order balance in order for me to find out if you got the right amount. And I'm gonna so make sure because it's a new question, so I'm gonna say please make sure you give me the control amount to be based on the order balance. Finally, I'm probably gonna tell you let's go ahead and erase anything that's so so just show all of those because the question was which transactions are not paid. So anything that's greater than 0, right? Anything that's greater than 0 will be filtered out or filtered. You see what I mean? So these particular transactions do not have a payment, and these transactions have some kind of payment, and there's about 62 out of 100. And now I can save this as instead of my joint database, I want to rename this to be whatever the name is, right? And so that is already done. I can snip this. In fact, let me snip it. I forget that I'm showing this just not to you guys, but to everybody, so you can see that what the actual amount is. And it should map those 32,425,000 and some change. One, two, okay.
Are you gonna post this video right now after class?
Yes, I am. I'm probably not even gonna edit it. I'm just gonna release it so that you guys can take advantage of this right away. And I'm also gonna release this with the results so you can practice. Make sure that the control total is compared to your amounts. Okay, we have 2 more to go. Do you mind staying real quick? If you can. One of them will be to actually do the visualization. So let's say that I'm looking at the cells, and right here it's asking you to visualize all the cells by customer. So you will go to the analysis visualization. I wish we had recorded macros so you could see how wonderful this can be, right? You can have a macro that runs every time you download a statement from your client's bank account, and it downloads and it automatically imports. If the statement has the same format, then you can set the CSVs to be in a particular place, and you can record it so that it goes and grabs the next month every month. You know, and you run it, and then it goes grabs today's or this month or last month's statement, and it analyzes all this automatically, and it tells you, you know what, these are unpaid. Go find out why they haven't been unpaid, and then you can do an aging report. So I can do a new dashboard that would be a pie chart, for example, and I could do a pie chart with all the cells, and I could group by, most likely I'm going to be grouping by sales representative, or in fact, that's what the question asks. And I'm looking for the statistic. What field am I going to sum? Well, neither of these. Why? I want another one. Let me see what the question says again. of all the cells. This was supposed to be unpaid sales, by the way. So let me close this. Give me an error, guys. I'm not able to find the cells. Let me grab the March 2015 transactions. Sales rep. Yeah, the sales amount. That's what I want, sales amount. Okay, let me now switch to the total sales. He won't let me. I gotta go check the stuff, but let's just say that I was the sales amount. I'll check to see what the issue was, but this would have been it. If I wanted to see who sold the most in March, then this would have been it, right? Like Brill, Rogers, Barra, Smith, Jones, Henderson, and Jenkins, with Brill being the one that sold the most. And we could chart this as 2015, March 2015 transactions by sales rep. And then when we save it, we can show them. That's it. And so we can grab that one in there. And then we can do another visualization. For now, I'm just going to ask you to do this, right? You could put a bunch of others in here and say, okay, let me go grab to see out of the random sample or out of the unpaid database, which ones are the ones that are, let's go ahead and create the ones that are by sales rep. And then calculate. There seems to be 7 number of duplicates, stuff like that in your visualization. But all I want is this, right? Let me close this real quick. The next question would be a lot harder. And I think that I can record this without you guys being here, and then I'll release it right now because it's already past our time. I'm sorry. So let me yield the floor real quick. Let me stop the sharing. Let me stop the recording.